right, here we go. I want to add my three different screens, the main menu, the playing screen, and the game over screen, and turn this into a bit of a more polished type of a game. So remember that I'm going to create those screens by making child classes of my game engine abstract class, GameScreen. Now to keep things nice and organized, I'm actually going to add another package to my project. So with my source folder selected, I'm going to add a package, and I want that package to be Baumeister, so my last name, dot screens. And that'll just create a folder in the Baumeister package that will be like a sub package for each of my screens. That'll help me keep things nice and organized. So there's my new package, and I'm going to create three classes in here quite quickly. I'm going to create a main menu, which will be a game screen. And I want to include inherited abstract methods so that I include for sure the initialize initialize scene method for the game, because that's the one that I have to program. Right, and I hit finish, and very quickly I have created a base class for my main menu screen. Okay, and I'm going to just do the same exact process there for my other two screens. So my gameplay screen, which is a game screen, and my game over screen, which is a game screen. Right, now I need to use my initialize scene method to switch between the scenes. Really quickly, just to sort of demonstrate the process here, I'm going to make a very basic scene for each one of these. I'll say return a new scene based on a root group, which I'll define in a second. And I want this to be size 800 by 600 and color. I want the main menu one to be color, let's say blue. And I need to define a group root, which is equal to a new group. I'm going to come back and put a button into that group in a second. Make sure that I import so I'm not sitting on errors. Import color as well. All right, there we go. I have a basic working, well, I guess I'm working on the game over screen there. I meant to be working in the main menu, but I'm going to do the same thing in the main menu. In fact, I will just copy and paste here between the classes to speed things up a little bit. So for the main menu, right, remember I need to return the scene from this method. So I need to create and return the scene. And I can just return a new scene. It can be an anonymous object. That's okay. And I will do the same thing in the gameplay. Now in the gameplay, I'd like to see a nice green soccer field, so I'll have the gameplay be green. And in the main menu, let's just have a different color for the main menu. So let's have a yellow main menu so we can tell which scene we're on. If it's yellow, that's the main menu scene. If it's green, that's the gameplay. And if it's blue, that's the game over. And I'm just going to go make a button here. Button play is equal to new button play KeepUps, or whatever I want the button to say. Okay, great. Have a button. What happens when I press the button? So when I press the button, I should move to the gameplay screen, right? So play.setOnAction. There'll be an event, and what happens on the event? On the event, I would like the ScreenManager. I want to get the instance from the ScreenManager, and I would like to set the screen to be equal to, now I'm supposed to say the class of what screen I want to appear. So you just name it. I'd want the gameplay class to appear. Right? If I have that registered with my ScreenManager, and we'll see how to register those in just a minute, that's the game screen that I want to come up. Now this has still got an error under it. Why? Because there's an exception. I might get an error if I haven't registered the gameplay class. So how can I handle this? Maybe there's an exception, maybe there's not. I'm just going to use the quick fix, surround this with try and catch. So try to set on the ScreenManager the gameplay class, and if it doesn't work, print out the stack trace. And I'm going to take out this to do. That's all I want it to actually do if there's an error. If there's an error, let's see it. But there won't be errors as long as I'm coding it right. Okay. That's for the main menu. All right, so I'll have a button to play the game. Make sure that I put that button in the group so that I can see it. And then in the gameplay, well, for now, just bear with me real quick here. I'm going to make a button again just to move between scenes kind of quickly here. And in this case, I'll say, oh, it's game over. And what happens when game over happens? Well, then we should move to the game over screen. Right? So ScreenManager, get instance, set screen, game over. If there's an error, just print out the trace for the error, please, and thank you. Make sure that that button, well, I don't think it makes sense to call the button play. Let's call it game over. We're going to get rid of that in a second anyway, but let's try to be at least a little bit good in our code. Right, so we're defining how the different scenes should act and behave. Right, and game over, what should happen with game over? Well, game over actually has maybe two different buttons. We have one to go back to the main menu. There's a new button that says, this is quit, takes us back to the main menu. And that should take me to the main menu class. That's the main menu button. Right, I can't need to go main menu here. Right, and I could also have a second button. Just going to copy that for a second, paste it. Second button called retry, which would take me back into the gameplay class. I'll set up those different transitions that we had imagined in the last video between the different screens. So this will go back to gameplay. And retry. Now, right now, those two buttons are sitting right on top of each other, so that's not going to work very well. Better change the location of those buttons so that I can actually see both of them. Let's take retry. Let's take main menu and relocate to, it's an 800 by 600 screen. Let's put this at, let's say, 375, like roughly the middle. I know 400 is the middle, but then the button has width too, so I'm going to say 375, so it's about the middle. And 100 for the height, and then the retry button, I will take that one, retry, and relocate that to 375, again, roughly the middle. I could spend some more time making this screen look exactly the way I want later. And so that there's a little bit of separation, I'll put this one at 200. Okay, the other scenes, the buttons are going to be in the top left corner, but that's fine. There's only one button on each scene anyway. All right, so I have my 3 scenes kind of mocked up really quickly. Now, how do I make the main program to display them? So go back to my Baumeister class, and I'm going to create a new class, and this is going to be the main game. So I can call it something like main, or in this case, it's the Soccer KeepUp game. So I'm going to call it KeepUps as the main program that you would run. It's going to include a main, and it's going to be a JavaFX application. Now this application, not too much to do. I need to launch the JavaFX platform just like I normally do. So launch on ARGS. And now I need to register my screens and then put some screen on to the stage and start playing. First thing I need to do is initialize my ScreenManager so that it's working. So I'll do ScreenManager dot initialize, and I'm going to send it the primary stage as the argument so that it knows what stage to put the screens onto whenever they get placed on screen. All right, so ScreenManager set up and running now. Now I can register my 3 different screens. So I'll do ScreenManager dot get instance dot add a screen. And what kind of screen do I want to add? I want to add a new main menu screen. And I'll just do new main menu. And then I need to import the main menu because it's coming from a slightly different package. It's coming from the Baumeister Screens package. So I'll import that. And then I need, well, basically 2 more copies of this line. 1, 2, 3. I don't need 3 main menu screens, obviously. I need a main menu and I need a gameplay screen. A gameplay. And I need a GameOver screen. Okay, same thing. Need to import gameplay and GameOver from Baumeister.screens and from Baumeister.screens. And now I just need to set the starting screen for my program. So ScreenManager, get instance, set screen, and main menu should be the starting screen. And so I'm going to ask for the main menu class to be displayed. All right, and then now I have my primary stage. It should have its scene set. And I'm going to go primary stage dot show. And that's it. If I wanted to, I could also set a title here and do any stage decoration that I need to do. Set title, Soccer KeepUps. But that's it. I don't need to do the scene building in this start method for this application anymore because I did the scene building in the 3 different scenes that I have individually. Right? So all I need to do is register those 3 different scenes with my ScreenManager, tell the ScreenManager which one to start with, and start the program. All right, so it's kind of a fair amount of coding that I did there all in one run, but fingers crossed when I run the program, I get a screen. Remember, the yellow one is the main menu, so I'm in the main menu, and when I say play KeepUps, it's going to switch over to me playing my game. I haven't coded that part yet, but here's me playing my game. When I finally lose, poof, it pops over to the GameOver menu, and then I have my option to quit, which should take me back to main menu. Okay, didn't code that right. When I hit game over, if I say retry, retry doesn't do anything. Okay, let's have a quick look at the game over code to see why that's not going to the right places. So if I say main menu that says quit, it's supposed to take me to my main menu class. Oh, but then I have it doing main menu again. This needs to say retry, set on action. Make sure you set the action for the right buttons. So retry should take me to gameplay. Main menu should take me back to the main menu class. Let's just make sure that basics is working there. So play my game, game over. Retry takes me back into the game. I'm playing, I lose, and I quit, and it takes me back to the main menu. Right? Something that old school games have is there's usually like maybe a 10-second delay, and then it automatically goes back to the main menu. I could do that here by setting up a pause transition, right? And I'm going to want to use the start method to trigger that pause transition. But I'll use the initialize method to set up the pause transition. Well, if I want to do that, I should do the pause transition as a class variable. Pause transition, let's call it delay. Here's something about the way that we've set up this initialize scene. Initialize scene is called by the constructor of GameScreen, the parent class, which is called before the constructor of GameOver. So if I try to do something here like delay equals a new pause transition with a duration in seconds of 10 seconds, that's exactly what I want to do. I won't be able to reference that in this initialize scene method. If I say delay dot set on finished, what do I want to happen when it's finished? I want to basically go back to the main menu, so it's this same code as pushing the main menu button, set on finished there. That's going to give me an error. It's going to give me a null pointer error, which feels kind of weird because I have declared what delay is, right? But you have to kind of realize the ordering. I'm going to try and create the game over screen, which is going to call the constructor for GameScreen, which is going to call initialize scene, which is going to start doing all this stuff to do, which is going to try to set up the on finished action for my delay, which has not been created yet because I haven't finished the GameScreen constructor and then moved into the game over constructor. So there's a little bit of an ordering problem here. Basically, just don't set the new object here. Just go, okay, there's the variable. It's called delay. In the initialize method, say delay is equal to a new pause transition. And then set up the unfinished reaction for the pause transition. And then I can add in override public void start. Remember, that gets called every time the screen comes up on to the stage. And anytime the screen comes up onto the stage, I want to take the delay and it's not called start, it's called play. I want to play that delay. So 10 seconds will pass by and then I'll automatically go back to the main screen. All right, just quick test here. All right, play my game. Game over. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 7, 1,000, 8, 1,000, 9, 1,000, 10, 1,000. And I'm back to the main menu automatically. Which is like all well and good. You can now go ahead and go crazy making the main menu screen look as fantastic as you want. You can go ahead and make the game over screen look as fantastic as you want. let's talk about how to make the gameplay screen actually play the game. So we've had our testing program that we've been using all along to play the game. That's basically what we want to happen when we go to play the game, right? So we're going to just essentially copy everything from here into the game screen for playing the game. And then we just have to reorganize a little bit of it into the setup that we have for game screens, for when game screens start, when they stop, and when they get initialized. All right, so I don't need a launch method anymore because this is not an application. I still need to handle the keyboard the same way that I was handling it. I still need to do the physics the same way that I was doing it. I'm still going to rebound from the foot the same way I was doing before. I'm still going to have the game update timer running in this scene, right? Everything is very, very much the same as it used to be. Still need to have my variables for the foot speed and the gravity. I still need to have my ball and my shoe and my game timer. The one thing I need to think a little bit about is how do I change the setup for setting up this scene now? Because I'm not going to do it in the start method. In fact, start method has a kind of a different meaning now that we've made it a game screen instead of an application. So creating the scene, the steps that we took to create the scene, that stuff should be in the initialize scene method. So I'm going to pop that up there for now. I like to have all my variables at the top of my classes, so I'm going to just pop these up here. And there is no primary stage within these scenes, so all this is gone. Right? And in fact, this whole start method is, this version of the start method is gone. But there is some stuff I want to do at override public void. There is a start method, but it doesn't have any parameters. And there is a at override public void stop, and it doesn't have any parameters. So what am I going to want to do when I start and stop the scene? Well, that's when I want the timer to get turned on and off. It's one of the main things I want to happen. When the scene starts, I want the timer to get turned on. When the scene stops, I'd like the timer events to stop happening. If I don't stop them, they'll keep happening and the physics will keep getting calculated even though I'm on the game over screen. That's not exactly right. So yes, I do want to make sure that I stop that timer. All right, so I got the game timer stopped and started. Now remember, we have a little bit of an organization issue with when certain things are called. So I can't create the ball here. I should just declare the ball and create it as I'm initializing the screen. So ball is equal to the new ball at 400, 100, and the foot is equal to a new shoe at the location for the foot. Just declare them. Don't try to create the new objects because they're getting placed into the group root. I can actually get away with it the timer because it's not getting placed into the group. And so it doesn't matter so much for the timer when exactly that gets declared and constructed. But for the ball, I need to have the ball constructed before it can be placed into the group. And I need to have the foot constructed before it can be placed into the group. Right? Create the group with the ball on the foot, make the scene out of the group the size I want it with the green background, hook up the keyboard so that I can do the left and right arrow keys to control the foot. That's all good. Game over button. Well, I'm not going to have a game over button anymore. That's going away. When should I try to switch to the game over screen. We never even really built that in, but basically if the ball goes too far below the bottom of the screen, that's when game over happens. So here where I have the ball location checking against the walls, I'm going to add another if statement here. If ball get y location is greater than or equal to 600 is the bottom of the screen. I'm going to give it a few pixels off the bottom of the screen, so it's greater than 650, then that's game over. And that's when I will switch to the game over screen. Right? I'm going to try the program. There's going to be a bit of a bug. All right, so I'm going to run the program. Oh, there's more than one bug. This was not the bug that I was expecting. So what do I have? Duplicate local root variable root. Oh, so I have root declared there, and I have root also declared there. Oops. All right, get rid of that one. And then I don't want to make two scenes either, so I created a scene, hooked it up to the keyboard, and then I want to return the scene that I created, that I named my scene. Okay, so that should fix that small issue. Here we go. Okay, play KeepUps, and we're playing. Right, there's the ball. It bounces. It goes off the screen. Switch to the game over screen. If I left it for 10 seconds, I would go back. I'm going to hit retry, and you're going to see the ball's not going to be on screen. And I'm just coming automatically right back to the game over screen. Why? The ball is still way off screen, causing me to lose. It didn't move back to the original position. Initialize didn't get called twice. Initialize got called once. Start gets called every time the screen gets brought onto stage, but initialize does not. It only gets called the first time that the screen is constructed in the main program, right? Initialize gets called here when I say new gameplay, but I'm not creating a new screen every single time, and I don't want to create a new screen every single time because creating that new screen could take too much time. I'd rather just create it once, have it ready to be blasted up on stage, and just sort of reset my variables in the start method for my gameplay screen. What I can't do is say ball equals new ball and put it back to the original location, because the ball that is in the group that's being displayed on screen will be the old one, not the new one. What I should do instead is just reset the ball to its location. So ball dot set x location. Its starting x location is 400. Ball dot set y location. Its starting y location is 100. I should reset its velocity as well. Ball dot set x velocity to 0. The ball's not supposed to be moving to begin with. Ball dot set y velocity to 0. Otherwise, I could have a very fast moving ball. And I should reset the foot. The only thing that can really change about the foot is its x position. So set x location to its starting location is also 400. The y location of the foot can't change, so I don't need to worry about resetting it if you redesign the program so the foot can move up and down as well as left and right. Great, just make sure you reset it there. And its velocity is calculated every time based on whether I'm holding the keys down or not. So it doesn't really matter if I reset the velocity to 0 here because it'll be calculated based on what I have held down anyway. With all of the gameplay objects set back to their original position, I should now be able to actually start the game. Like it's basically like restarting the game, right? So I'm just going to let that ball fly off screen. Oh, I lost. Start again. Oh, done. Now I think I might have a bit of a slight issue that I started a timer saying I was going to go back to the main screen. And if I do that, better say in the game over screen, guess what? If you unload this screen, so public static void stop delay dot, well, stop playing, the delay method. Is there a, yeah, there is a stop method for that too. So just so that I don't automatically go back to main screens after 10 seconds all the time. Okay, play. Just testing that. I make sure that it works the way I think it does. And it does, so I'm not going to go back to the main screen now. Okay, I've just lost again. Let's see if I can survive for 10 seconds here. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,004, 1,005, 1,006, 1,000, 7,000, 1,009, 1,010, 1,000. And I'm not automatically going back to the main screen. Right? And if I quit, I go back to the main menu. Now I'm going to leave you guys with the task of dressing up the main menu so that it looks very nice, and dressing up the game over screen so that it looks very nice. The functionality is there, it's just a matter of sort of window dressing at this point. And I'm going to also leave you guys with the task of thinking about how you might want to adapt the game a little bit to be a bit more of an interesting game. Do you want to add some sound effects? Do you want to add a score? Do you want to add some target sprites that the player is trying to hit with the ball to make it more challenging and a little bit more interesting? Those would all be good ideas about how you could adapt the gameplay a little bit. And I'm going to leave those to you as exercises. I'm looking to see that you have implemented all of the code that I've given in the tutorials and adapted the game to make the menu and the main menu and the game over screen look a little nicer, and adapted the game at least a little bit to show that you understand fully how that code works.